Hello for the fifth Sunday of Easter, using the last sentence of the first reading from Acts of the Apostles, which is Acts 6, 1 to 7, verse 7, and the Gospel, John 14, 1 to 12. And as far as whenever I prepare these homilies, I go to my missalette and I read get the first impression of these scriptures. What is Jesus trying to tell me, or what is being said here? And this week I sort of got stunned a little bit because the very end of the first reading from the Acts of the Apostles, it said, even large groups of priests were becoming involved with the people. What do you mean? And then exactly, even, where is it? Oh, yeah, even a large group of priests were becoming obedient to the faith. Well, I don't think priests are so bad. Even they became obedient to the faith. Well, I looked up some things on that, and the push comes to shove. In 6 other places in John's Gospel, that they allude to that's the same idea, and it all has to do with great groups of people were coming to believe in Jesus. But I didn't like it the way it was said there. Even the priests were coming on board with all this. So I went back to an older translation, which I like a lot better, and it says, there were many priests among those who embraced the faith. Well, that's okay. But even the priests became obedient. Well, we're not as bad as many people make us out to be. That's one idea. Second idea has to do with the gospel, and I really think it's powerful, especially in today's situation. And that is the concept of Jesus Christ talking about death, and I think heaven. Well, we really know there's an awful lot of death around. I mean, every day, if you watch Cable News Network, you see the governor of New York, Cuomo, reports the death count and how terrible it is. Every evening, the governor of Kentucky reports the death count of this COVID-19, this virus, death virus. But in a nicer way, I think, Jesus is talking about death in the gospel. And what does he say? Well, he says that I shall come back and take you. That's death. But it sounds a lot better than all these breathing machines and the pain and you can't breathe and all these people dying. I'll come back and take you at your appointed time. Death. And we all will be taken in our appointed time. But boy, does it seem terrible right now. How many people are being taken and at this appointed time. But then the most powerful part of that gospel, at least for me, is Christ, I think, I call it's my definition of heaven. This is just what I conclude. My definition. He's going to come back and he's going to take us. And then he says why he comes back and what's going to happen after he takes us. Real simple. He says he's going to do this. And then he says why. And the why is so that where I am, you also may be. So that where I am, you also may be. That's my definition, or his maybe, but I make it my definition of heaven, that I'm going to be with Jesus. And that's what it's all about. This past week, I've been dealing with a man dying of cancer, and he's going through the same process. It's dreadful for the family to watch him linger on. But soon, real soon, Jesus is going to come back and take him, so that where I am, you also, Mac, may be. That seems a lot happier than some of the tragedies and the pain and the suffering that is going on in the world in this pandemic. Well, what are you doing? I don't know what you're doing out there, but I'm doing a heck of a lot of nothing. Reading, praying, being home, yard work when it's nice, and I try to walk a couple miles every day. And I'll tell you a delightful thing in this mess of death. When I'm walking down Viley Road, it's 2.7 miles when I walk all the way around Viley, Alexandra, and up Versailles Road, and then back up to my house on Viley Road. Just at the beginning of my walk, it was a good day, a nice, warm, sunny day. And right off to the left of when I begin my walk is a dam that holds in a sort of a beautifying lake for the subdivision here in this neighborhood. And at the top of this hill, off the left of the road, there's the dam, and so it goes up 20 some feet. And at the top of the dam was a black mom and a little black kid, 3 or 4 years old. And she was flying a kite for him, with him. And she's up there on top. I look up to my left, and she's flying this kite. The kite's only about 20, 30 feet off the ground. The kid's running across the dam, this little black boy, and he's jumping up and down trying to touch the kite. And he says, I'm flying, I'm flying. I thought, what a different world this kid is in. Isn't it nice? Wouldn't it be nice sometime to be that jumping up and down with enthusiasm toward your kite? I'm flying, I'm flying. I thought, what a good mother. What an innocent little kid. And we're all moving in the direction of heaven. We're all moving in the direction of being up in the sky or up in the clouds or flying our kite or whatever you want to call heaven. I call it, Jesus is saying to me and to us all, so that where I am, you are, or where you are, I am. Make it a little flying kites, make it eating a steak, make it love making, whatever you want to make it. But that's the bottom line definition of heaven for me. In these days of death and suffering, you probably think many different thoughts too, like me, like I think most people. We're all headed for something, aren't we? I think we've been made by God and we're headed back to God. And that's the greatest thing possible. Better than that little boy jumping up trying to touch the kite. We are trying to do the same thing here below. But God is touching us and has touched us, has touched all of creation, and going to take us back. So that where you are, I am. Or so where I am, you are. Whatever way you would like to translate it. You do some of these crazy, wonderful, I think, deep thinking during this pandemic. An awful lot of suffering going on. An awful lot of heroism going on. There's an awful lot of goodness going on. But it doesn't make it easy, does it? What are you doing during this period of time? That mother was making that little kid happy. We're called to happiness. We're called to give and create happiness. We're called by God. Have a good day.